good today.
Some magic in the day, man.
Okay, let's start inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل نعم المولى ونعم النصير. غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. صل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. So, inshallah we will carry on. Page 138 from the words. So then they responded, saying, who are they? Those who understood what the prophets bring to them, and they agree with it, with what the prophets brought to them. So their attitude is such that now the author is going to describe it, and we will see how they responded to the message of the prophet, or what the message of the prophet points to and teach them. So they educated themselves with the message and lived accordingly. Responded means they established their life accordingly. Their life accordingly means their understanding of the world, their understanding of the existence of this world and their reality, human reality. So let's see how they responded. Saying, God is most great. So we know this expression. We are familiar with it in Arabic, Allahu Akbar, and almost every person who acknowledges that the things have been created by God, they say God is most great. So how they say God is most great, the following phrase or the sentence explains: before the manifestation of divine beauty, glory, perfection, and majesty in the mirrors of beings. In the mirrors of beings. So when we say God is most great, what are we doing? Why do we say God is most great? What do we really mean when I say God is most great? Am I speaking to God? That you are the most great? God will say, how did you know that I am the God? I am the most great. How did you conclude this? So we should never forget that we are in this world. We are in this world, and our conclusions must be the results of our observations in this world. That is the most important key point. If I say God is most great, But if I am not aware what this phrase contains in it, and how can I really confirm the content of this phrase, it means I am just imitating certain culture. So here the author is teaching us, the author is teaching us, you have to say God is most great before the manifestation of divine beauty. Manifestation of divine beauty. Glory, perfection, and majesty. In the mirrors of being. That's very practical. In the mirrors of being, we have to see the manifestations of divine beauty. It means my understanding of beings must be well established, that what I see in the beings as beautiful, I have to question, where does this beauty come from? I have to understand. I have to be very practical. I shouldn't really imagine things. So, in whatever they use different language. The people use different language. Of course, that is very difficult to express one's understanding in the right way. That's why people say, I'm spiritual, I'm very religious, I follow religious rules, etc. Why? Why do I follow religious rules? Not only because when I look at the things around me, seems to be wonderful. So there must be a creator. So the religions, all religions mostly claim that, they acknowledge that the universe has been created by a creator. Okay, nothing wrong with it. And then, when it comes to my practical life, when I say, okay, I'm going to perform my religious duties, it must be realistic for me. It means I must be convinced within myself about what I am doing. So saying that there is a creator, there must be a creator. So living my life according to according to accepting the existence of the creator is not really religious life. Or is it something wrong? No, but it's very primitive, if you like. It is true, but it's the beginning of it. So while I am communicating with the Creator, I have to be in contact with the beings and acknowledge that I'm here. Be aware that I am in this world. I cannot really get out of this world, whether you or somebody may say, no, the world is not important. Listen to your inner senses. So be an not external but exotic man. Listen to your senses, and that's it. You will understand that there is something mysterious in this world. You will realize that there is something mysterious in this world. I cannot explain it, so I have to submit myself to the creator of the universe. So when it comes to submission oneself to the creator of the universe, it becomes imitation. It starts imitation, not becomes. It is the beginning of imitation. Imitation doesn't provide satisfaction. So when we listen to the Quran, for example, Quran continuously draws our attention to the creation, or gives all examples from the creation, from the world. Even the practices of the prophets narrated in the Quran, prophetic narrations, are the practical life of the human beings on earth. On earth. So that's why I have to establish my life, or I have to educate my feelings according to my observations in this world, and come to a conclusion. Come to a conclusion. And my conclusion is, I observed in this world that the beauty here, everybody enjoys, yeah? There's beauty here. I admire it. I say, this beauty points to something. And glory, in the universe, huge universe, or very full of wisdom in even the smallest part of the universe, part of the things, you see that the quality of the qualities there can only be explained in terms of the absolute creator. It means in terms of something which has absolute source, absolute qualities. If there is no absolute quality that I can explain this flower or the beauty in the flower, I cannot really attribute it to any created being, the beauty. The created beings have no conscience, created beings have no will, created beings have no ability to communicate with the other creatures. They are acting as they are made, like us, like human beings. We act as we are made. For example, I can see because I am made with the ability to see. I can think because I am made with the ability to think. That's my reality. That's why I am experiencing here. And I have to be very careful how to explain these qualities. Can I explain the qualities that I observe in the beings in terms of any other being in the universe? That is the, if you like, fundamental the message we receive from the Quran, and makes sense. I cannot explain the existence of anything in terms of anything else. I cannot say that something made my leg, or something made my, eye or nose. In this world, I cannot see anything which has qualities to do anything purposefully. But like me, That's where the people usually confuse, according to my understanding. Of course, they see, look at me, I am speaking, look at me, I am hearing, I am thinking. That's what I am doing. But how can you explain that quality? Where these qualities came from? What can be the source of these qualities? Think about it. So I only, it's not the main subject of today's discussion, I only explain the existence of anything, any quality in this world. Anything, any quality of the thing in this world, in terms of anything in this world, but we have to be confident in this. We have to think, can I explain any quality in my being or any quality in the being of this flower in terms of any other being? It is the source of existence of this design, existence of this beauty, existence of this smell, and existence of my relationship with this flower. Can we? So my worship or my attitude of worship or my worship of God must be based on my worship of God, must be based on my conclusion that I see in this world. And think about it, and accordingly I take a position saying that I am convinced in my own life, I am convinced in my own being, in my own self, that these qualities in the universe cannot come by itself, cannot come from another source in this world. That is the essential part of it. We have to think this always. Right. Always. Because we usually hear that being religious or being a worshipper of God is isolating myself from this world. If you isolate yourself from this world, first, it is impossible. You cannot isolate yourself from this world. The second, by isolating yourself from this world, where do you base your worship? Where do you base? The worship of God. Why do you worship God? Why do you worship God? If you isolate yourself from this world. Think about it. So it must be my own personal conclusion. So I have to take my being in this world and the being of these beautiful flowers seriously and think about it.
When you mention world, does that include, for example, isolation from people? Isn't there, like, for example, at least, once in a while, benefit in at least isolating yourself from, like, not obviously throughout life, but at least, once in a while, sort of like, to reflect for yourself, to isolate yourself from social interactions? Isn't there benefit in that, you think?
If you find any benefit from it, you can, for example, you can isolate yourself from, for example, nonsense conversations, pointless relationship, not really based on my relationship with the source of the existence that this universe points to. And don't waste your time. But it doesn't mean that you are in your life, religious life, you have to forget about the world. You can't. So we have to always be together with our own being. You have to always take your own being, that you are in this world, you are in this world, and you are communicating with the rest of the world, and take this relationship seriously and conclude something. As a conclusion, but this doesn't happen only once. As a conclusion of that moment, you can say God is most great. If you want to say, if you conclude that it is God is most great, then you have to declare it as a human being. You shouldn't contradict yourself. That is, you may be in social life, you may have some relationship with some people, and this may annoy you because it diverts your attention from your humanity or being a real human being, and using your human abilities to fulfill your purpose in this world. It is not isolating yourself from the world. You are in this world. For example, you have seen the flowers, mashallah. So you said they are beautiful. I like it. That's why Noura brought it, because she wanted to share the beauty together and remember the beauty in the being of the flower, so that we will question it, we will wonder, we will reflect on it. How come they are beautiful? Can I explain it in another way than attributing all the qualities I see on the flower to the one who is beyond the limits of this creation? And tomorrow you may not see the flower, but the memory you have remains with you. So when you say God is most great, that you must remember, yeah, I experienced the flower yesterday. And my relationship with the flower, it is beautiful, I love it. So you remember your experience and you say God is most great as a result of even more, if you can. You can more, because it may be hard. Do you feel hard? Yeah. Yeah, maybe stuffy as well. Because we haven't opened the windows for a while, for some reason. Okay? So, God is most great. They responded saying God is most great before the manifestation of divine beauty. Divine beauty. Glory, divine perfection, and divine majesty in the mirrors of beings. No. In the mirrors of beings, don't you see, or don't we see the contradiction there? In the mirrors of beings, or beings, alaykum salam, the beings beings are limited. The flower is limited. We have to train ourselves. How can I explain this limited being so that I would be able, if I can, of course, it is open, the open question. If I can, how can I explain the beauty of the limited flower? One day it will wither away, I know that as well. That this beauty is not, the beauty belongs to the flower, but this is a divine beauty. This is a divine beauty. It's not simple. It is not saying that, oh, we believe in God. That's not that simple. Divine means, what do you understand from divine? Anybody?
Absolute.
Absolute.
Out of this world.
Sorry?
Not within this world.
Not within this world. The beauty or the existence of beauty of this flower, including the existence of the body of this flower, cannot be explained within this universe. You can attribute its existence to any source in this universe. That is the point we have to repeat every week. Because we have to remember this. Because we human beings are inclined to see religion in terms of something which is not related to this world. Which is not related to this world. And when it comes to matters related to religion, we try to shun this word. Why? Because religion is something spiritual, so I have to try to be spiritual. But what does it mean? Being spiritual, what does it mean? How do we define being spiritual? So human qualities are such that they can see in the flower the divine beauty. So the author is helping us to understand how we should interpret the flower. It says, in the mirror of the flowers. He's really telling me, you have to see the flower as a what?
Manifestation.
Mirror, reflecting something beyond the capacity or limits of this universe. So I have to be confident. Alaykum salam. Still bad. Good, thank you. Welcome, I think.
I got some Turkish delight. I was in Turkey's airport.
Will you? Good. Here, offer brothers and sisters, inshallah. Please. It's not easy. You will look at a limited being and you will conclude that this limited being is functioning as a mirror and reflecting something divine. It means nothing to do with this world. What does it mean? So Ali, I'm not asking this question to you. You just came, but you may not be really into the topic. So, what does it mean? What does it mean? It's not easy. We have to train ourselves because we don't see religion in these terms. the terms that we have been talking. For example, you might have joined many religious activities. Tea is coming.
Okay.
There is no tea or because it is closed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Open it more. Open it more.
More?
To make sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's tea now. Is it come? Anything is coming?
Uh-huh.
Well, so you can get water from the thermos. So that is the missing point. I understand.
Ali, you were saying you might have joined a lot of religious activities and
Yeah.
what was
And they don't talk about the creation. They don't talk about the universe. They don't help usually. I'm not saying everybody. They don't help us how to interpret the creation, this world, and how to interpret my own being in this world. That's why we have to emphasize every day. In reality, especially those people who say that we are Muslims and we are following the Quran, no one claims that they don't follow the Quran, none of my business, but if somebody is following the Quran, he has to speak in terms of this world. Because the Quran refers all of its, if you like, claims in terms of this world by asking, by really bringing the witnessing from the creation. So make it real. But what we do, we usually, we say, okay, we take belief for granted. We say, okay, I believe in God, now tell me what to do. This is the source of the disease. This is the source of the disease. I believe in God, and I prescribe to a religion, whatever it is. Now, the religion is not important. You may prescribe to Islam, Christianity, Buddhism. It's not important. What's important? What is important? Are you really seeking the investigation in the truthfulness of the claims of that religion, or seeking what to do as a member of this certain religion? To me, in order, I don't like speaking this way, but in order to preserve the religious communities, people, usually the leaders, insist on, leaders, the community leaders, insist on practicing the rules of that certain religion in practical terms, in ritualistic terms only. Not educating them. Why? For example, they are Christian. Why? They are Jews. Why they follow the Judaic religion? Why they follow the Christian religion? How they can make sure that Christian religion is really correct or Islam is correct? They don't teach, educate them. They say, you are Muslims. Look, when you say, you are Muslims, you lost at that point your purpose. Shall we say that you are not Muslims? No. Tell me why I am Muslim. Convince me that religion of Islam or religion of Christianity is really true under the observations of my reality in this world. what I see. I like the light. Salih brought, I enjoy it, and I like the flower. It's really much better than. So there is no side effect. So flower is, I like it, I enjoy it. That's my life. Tell me why I am a Muslim or Christian in terms of my relationship with with loving the flower. That is the missing point. That is the missing point. But the Quran insists on it if someone wants to see it. But what we usually do, we take religion as a social institution. Religion as a social institution. It doesn't mean that religious people should not have a social institutions, but you cannot really establish your faith, your belief, your conviction because you belong to a certain group of people. Are you a subscriber to a certain group saying that I belong to this group? Why? Because I was born there, or that simple? That's not belief. And this person can say only by imitation that this is the ritualistic thing I have to say God is most great. Because I am a Muslim. So in Islam we say God is most great. It's not my personal conclusion. It is the, if you like, prescriptions I receive from the community that I found myself within it. So we have to be realistic. That's why we have to learn how to educate ourselves in order to see the divine beauty, divine glory in whatever you are interacting. For example, if you like speaking to a person, your friend, and enjoying it, you have to see the divine beauty in that enjoyment, in the existence of that enjoyment. How come this enjoyment exists? Can I attribute this enjoyment to any source within this universe? If I cannot, that's la ilaha, then I have to say the source of the existence of this beauty is divine. That's not difficult. It has become difficult for us because religions have been institutionalized and the people became a member of these institutions mostly by birth. I was born in America, that's why I am an American citizen, or naturalized for through certain laws and liberal ways. I am here for such and such years, then I have completed the requirements of the law in this way or another way, so that I am a member of this community, I am an American citizen. That's correct. Because there is no really reality in it. That's your social connection. How about being able to say God is most great? You cannot really naturalize yourself within God is most great. Sultan, your mic is on. Please take care of. Thank you. You cannot really become a citizen of a certain belief because you were born into that community. Belief is your personal conviction and your personal practice of that conviction. That's why if someone sees, take it please. Yeah. And there are some, over others as well, there are some
Anybody want brownies?
Yeah.
yeah, take it. We have to finish now.
Or brownies, take brownies.
Salih, we have to finish
Salih,
all
go
of
on,
us. We have to finish all of so please, offer yourself or your friends and finish them.
This is green tea also.
Green tea, if anybody wants green tea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll take one. I'll take one.
Think about it.
Do you have forks?
I forgot to bring the forks today. They are here.
How many forks? Is there any between?
I think they are here. Have you brought all of them?
All
All the forks that we have.
All the forks for all the plates, I think.
Salih, don't hide it. Yeah? So,
What if I want some later?
yeah. You know, put it in a place that you can see.
There's one last brownie. Aubrey?
There are forks for those
Anybody wants forks?
who need it.
They're especially good today.
Is it?
Yeah, they're especially good today.
Follow the same.
Just softer.
Yeah, so I put some water in. Last Saturday, I didn't put water. I didn't add water. Oh, he hasn't done anything. Okay. Especially, this particular section is talking about prescribed prayers and what these prescribed prayers in the teachings of the Quran or Islam, 5 times daily prayer. Have you noticed that he is talking about the prescribed prayers only from, if you like, it is an internal side, not external side. So when you pray, you go and pray. What do you say? Allahu Akbar. God is most great. So it is not difficult. Just be conscious. Get used to remembering that everything is the mirror of divine glory, divine beauty. So divine perfection, divine majesty. But be sure, make sure that when you say, for some of you do that, and say, God is most great, you have to have a base in this word for your conclusion. God is most great. The more we are conscious of what we are saying, the more we will be satisfied with your prayer. You say, yes, I performed something that I am convinced about. not I performed my religious duty. That expression somehow irritates me. I performed my religious duty, so I am done with my life in this world. No. There's a very fundamental difference. Methodologically, they contradict. So do your religious duties means remember the beauty you enjoyed when you saw the flower. And remember your conclusion. It is with you. So you will say yes. Not imitate your previous life, that your experience with the flower. So you will say yes. That flower, for example, I saw yesterday was beautiful and I enjoyed it. And this enjoyment, this beauty, for me, can only be explained in terms of divine. You have to be convinced. If you are not convinced, what are you saying? I don't know. You have to be convinced. It means we have to investigate. We have to think seriously. We shouldn't just say that, oh, these are nice flowers. Thank you, Nora, Sister Nora. So I like that. So what? They are mirrors. They are mirrors, so they reflect divine qualities. So he said, yeah, I liked it, and I have to think further. And this sense of liking, this sense of enjoying is divine. I cannot attribute enjoying the beauty of flower to anything in this world. The atomic structures looks ridiculous. Accident looks ridiculous to me. You have to think. If you think that no, it's not ridiculous, okay, you have to argue. You have to concentrate on this. You cannot really skip it. That's what we usually do. So the author is using any sentence, structuring the sentence in a way that inviting me to pay attention to this reality that I am experiencing here and what I am expected to conclude. Of course, it must be my conclusion. I shouldn't imitate the author, but author is giving me or teaching me the methodology in performing your prescribed prayers. Which kind of methodology I should follow. So there are some words, of course, commonly used, something like khushu in Arabic, ecstasy maybe, or consciousness, awareness. I don't really know how you explain it.
Piety.
Sorry?
Piety.
Khushu.
People say humility sometimes.
In the prayer.
Humility maybe?
Sure, it's like concentration, like your focus in the prayer.
Focus, yeah.
You are focusing on the
It's like you're involved.
meaning of what you are doing, not the outward form of what you are doing. The meaning, being aware of it.
But if I may just, I mean, usually where I come from, it's usually explained as being detached from the worldly issues and matters. Like, for example, don't think about your job, don't think about your life, don't think about, like, focus on the prayer. That's how.
Well, that's the heart of the matter. How can you focus on the prayer? So I'm not going to think about my job. I'm not going to think about my, for example, itinerary for my travel. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I have to concentrate on my prayer. What am I doing during the prayer? What am I doing?
Reflecting on the verses you're reciting.
So concentrate on the verses and think. Is it
to say that.
worship? Is it worship or is it remembering your previous knowledge?
Mm.
What are these? So, for example, you are reading something, whatever, from a piece from the Quran. So, concentrating that you are reading this piece from the Quran. What are you doing? Learning or remembering your previous knowledge, not your confirmation, not your declaration. Yeah. We have to be honest with ourselves. So what am I doing here? Even when I read the pieces from the Quran, I have to locate myself in the world where I stand, how much I am convinced about my stand in the world. Because I'm here in the world.
I was just gonna say that focusing in that way, just reading the verse without applying it to your life and remembering it, then it's very shallow interpretation and meaning that you're not really doing, you're not praising God the way you're supposed to.
So, the state of mind while we are praying, state of mind is the base of everything. What are you doing? What are you doing there? Then while you are reciting some pieces from the Quran, you may know the meaning of them, you may not know the meaning of them. When you, for example, repeat some sources, some verses from the Quran, you may say, "Oh, this is the verse from the Quran I am reciting." You have to say, why? Because I concluded that my being in this world makes sense only if I attribute it to the divine being. So I am now exclaiming, declaring my conclusion. So while I am doing this, I read the piece from the Quran. I may know the meaning, I may not know the meaning. That's something else. So sorry, he has finished. I think you can get from there.
There's more here.
Well, that's the green tea. Yeah?
You want
No, you don't want green
for
tea.
the coffee?
Attitude, awareness, consciousness is important. Not what you do. For example, you stand up, you bow, you prostrate down. Why are you doing all this? Establishing the communication with your conclusion that everything is from the divine being. I am declaring that. So while you are doing this, for example, when you say God is most great, you know, you must know. Why do you say God is most great? Just remember. So when you say God is most great, if you like, a sense within you, a voice within you says, yeah. But it must be your voice. You must have it. It must be your voice. Yeah, God is most great. Why? Just I see my existence in terms of God. Because everything is a mirror to divine qualities. Okay, I think we had enough. Yeah? So,
No.
Wait,
Sorry.
what?
no?
Still not.
It's 11:30.
No, you
No,
just
no,
need
no.
to-
Oh,
enough of
this
the
one.
Whether
word
enough?
sentence.
Oh, this is part of the sentence.
I hope I'm fast.
I have a question actually. Before we talk, I have a question about that because, like, practically speaking, if you're about to pray, for example,
If you are?
about to pray,
Yeah.
I started doing this thing where maybe asking like, oh, who created me? Trying to, you know, play the philosopher or something, so I can get into that state that you're talking about, and you know, confirming la ilaha illallah. So do you think it's good to sort of ask those kind of questions before getting, or is it better to start from whatever you're experiencing in the world, and then go to that conclusion, get to that conclusion? Do you understand what I'm saying?
The problem is with us, we don't understand religion in terms of our own existence. We, if you like, isolate our existence, because you said practically speaking, I'm speaking in terms of, again, practice. We isolate our existence from our conclusions, and I say, you know, as a person, as Sali or as Ali, I am convinced that there is a God, so that I'm following a certain religion and now practicing the rules of that religion. So I'm praying because the religion requires me to pray, or teaches me that I should pray. The religion is taught to me, of course it's a long subject, but taught to me by the Prophet, etc. Prophet said you have to do this in order to practice your understanding. But we take our existence for granted. This is a state of mind. This is a state of not only mind that, as you said, you know, like a philosopher, that I have to question how the things came into existence, blah blah. No, this is a state of mind. This is a state of your own emotional life that you conclude you are satisfied with it. So, for example, in a very natural way, if somebody offers you something, and if you really like it and enjoy it, what do? Automatically, you say, thank you, I'm very happy with it. That is your state now, if you like, state of existence. So we have to always think about our own existence. That may be a subject of an independent discussion, but let's summarize it as my own existence, you know. I have to think about my own existence so that I can refer my existence to the existence of the rest of the world. We neglect our own existence. That's my experience. When I neglect my own existence, I don't have a state of mind, state of emotion, state of whatever you call them. They call it heart, whatever the human beings are. I don't have this state if I neglect this. So that what I do, I ignore myself and I ignore my own state of existence and then do certain actions. Being an American citizen is not like being a believer in God or being a Christian or Muslim. Being an American citizen can be explained in terms of this word. There are certain conditions. If you fit within these conditions, you are described as an American citizen. So you can say, I am an American citizen, so I have to abide by the laws of this country, etc. But when it comes to belief, not because of the certain conditions outside of you, Do you see what I mean? Being an American citizen depends on the things outside of your existence. Okay, because you were born within that particular piece of the earth, or you were born within a particular family. It's nothing to do with your reality, with your existence. But belief means nothing to do with your external conditions. It is everything to do with your internal conditions. How you complete your own being. How do you see yourself? So at first you may think, you may investigate, you may question, you may go through many stages to conclude that you explained your existence in this term or another term. And so you say, I am, my existence is or means to me this. If you really, really think seriously, you will discover that our being belong to a religion is nothing to do with our existence. The meaning of our existence to ourselves. Because we don't think about it, because we reduce belief or religious life, if you like, or being pious or being a pious person, whatever, to external objects, external conditions. In reality, belief is your internal condition. It means how you see your own existence, how you experience your own existence in your practical life. See yourself who you are. We don't see, we don't question within ourselves, who am I? What does my existence mean to me? To me. That is not very common way of understanding religion. We say we are not Christians, we are Muslims, or we are not Jews, we are Christians. This kind of things, like we are not French, but we are American or British. This has nothing to do with religion. This has nothing to do with one's religious identity and reality. I think Ragda wants to say something. Please.
Yeah, two questions. What should our existence mean, and who should we be?
Who
should we be?
Should we be? Shall I repeat your sentence? It's a question, so I will. So you will correct me if I have misunderstood it. What?
Because you were asking,
yeah.
You were saying that we need to ask, what does our existence
mean? Yeah.
So I'm asking, what should it mean?
That's up to you. You have to think about it. You have to conclude.
But isn't
somebody cannot really prescribe and write something and give it to you and saying that you are this. And again, it's not like being an American citizen. So somebody gives you a passport and ID card says that you are an American citizen now. You can go and travel in the world with this passport. No, it is your own conclusion. You should ask this question, not personally you. We, all of us, should ask this question to myself. What does my existence mean to me? When you ask this question, you are at the threshold of entering into a belief system. Not a threshold, not within it, just at the threshold of entering into a belief system. Because when you start investigating this, who am I? What do all the senses I have mean to me? So, not only why the flowers are beautiful, you have to say, why do I like the flowers? What does it mean? If someone does not question his existence, his own existence or her own existence, she or he has missed the first step. The rest is, I don't know what it is, culture. But that's what we have to learn here. Or my readings brought me to this point. If I don't define my own existence, all my claims being brought to a certain religion, I'm very spiritual man, certain things are pious, and I follow religion, and I'm not, for example, harming anybody. Why? Who are you that you are really defining yourself with these qualities? So ask the question to yourself so that you can enter, you can really establish your belief. Otherwise, culture, tradition, ethnic background. It's not difficult, but it is something that we don't hear. We don't hear. But when you are careful, let's see, some people are saying here, can everybody double check with the microphone? Standing, oh, that's okay. And a prayer, establishing your communication with your conclusion. Ron Ibrahim, somebody said something interesting here. Prayer, establishing your communication with your conclusion. But I would put one word, insert into the sentence, it's beautiful, establishing your communication with your own conclusion. Not borrowed, not learned from others, not obtained from outside world. It's your own conclusion. Difficult, isn't it? No, it's not difficult because we are not taught this. We are not taught this. Would you like?
No, I just, like, from my perspective, it's like when you reach that point and, you know, your conclusion contradicts your reality, or quotation reality, because it's culture. You know, it's when you kind of, you realize like how scary it is, how, but you have to go forward. I mean, it's...
Yeah. Don't be, because it is never late. As long as I am giving life in this world, there is no way to lose hope. Doesn't matter how old you are or what culture you come from. You are giving life and the ability to think, to reflect, and you use your human feelings. That's the purpose. By giving all these qualities to us, to human beings, the one who gave all these qualities to me mean for me. Come on, use them. Use them. Yes? So it is never late as long as we are living, giving life. So We have to, it is beautiful, it is very convincing, it eradicates all sort of prejudices, claims, we are better than others, our prophet is much better than their prophet or their hero, our book is, no compare. Why would you? Because you are convinced within yourself that God is most great, is really true. Not because you are a Muslim. Because you yourself, within yourself, convinced that God is most great is true. And you cannot deny it, you cannot say anything else. So stop comparing the religions or nations, whatever. Just say, can you realize, can you understand that God is most great? Let's talk about it. Yeah. How can we say that God is most great? How can we convince myself that God is most great? It's not difficult. It is difficult just because we have not been taught in this way. We are not used to reading the Quran or the guidance books in this way, whatever you read. But the Quran is most consistent, among others, as far as we can see. I cannot really claim that I have read everything at all, but I say Quran is consistent in this sense that as a human being, the one who speaks in the Quran with the Quran tells me that I am your creator. As your creator, I am telling you that you are given the ability to be convinced about this statement. God is most great. So we have to practice it. That's the news now. You can do that. Okay? My creator tells me that you can learn French, for example. I say, oh no, my creator told me that I can learn French, and keep repeating saying that I can learn French, but never learn French. That is following tradition. That's not religion. That's a social institution. No, it's very challenging. Not because it is difficult, not because we are doubtful about it, because we have not taught in this way, or people didn't really remind us that that is the most important responsibility in my being a human being in this world, to concentrate on my own existence, on my own qualities given to me. What am I going to do with these qualities, and why? Why do they exist? Why am I made in this way? For example, have you ever questioned simply, why have you been given eyes to see? Why have you been given nose to smell? Why have you been given certain senses to communicate with the other creatures? Why do they exist in my being? You don't have to say God, God, God at the beginning. No, why do they exist? When you investigate it, you can see them as mirrors of divine beauty, divine perfection, divine glory. And these mirrors are within you, in your own existence. Because even when you see the beauty in the flower, because you are seeing the beauty in yourself and saying that this is beautiful, you claim that this is beautiful. Right? It doesn't mean that, I'm not philosophizing the subject. It doesn't mean that the flower in reality is not beautiful, but none of my business. My business is, I am seeing it as beautiful and I am enjoying it and I have to explain this reality. That's my responsibility. I have to concentrate on it. That's my responsibility as a human being who have been given endowed with many, many different kinds of qualities. I have to question. That's religion. It's different, isn't it? To go and learn how to read the Quran or join the Bible studies in a church is religion. It's difficult. But don't say, but most of the people don't do that. But none of your business. You are responsible for yourself. If someone asks you, yes, the one who created you enabled you to learn French, so let's learn French. Whoever you are, because you are given this ability. So what I am saying, use your human qualities in order to know who you are. And your conclusion must be your own conclusion, not instructed. The one thing that I keep saying, religion cannot be instructed. Right? Instruction. No. The Quran doesn't say, I instruct you. Quran says, I guide you. Right? Do you agree? So instruction means really brainwashing. Really. No. Instruct. You can do something with your children, but that is another subject. No. But that is another thing. But instruction is not the way to really, if you like, assume or adopt a religion for yourself. Somebody teaches you that you are Muslim, you are Christian, or whatever, Buddhist, so you have to go and do this sort of things. So religious activities. So there are, I think, people who want to ask questions.
Dr. Andy, there's a thin line between guidance and instructions. Like, people might argue that guidance is also brainwashing.
No. Do you think that guidance is brainwashing? Think about it. Because somebody is saying, I am your creator. All right. Let me see if it's true or not. I am telling you that I have given you this ability to do this and do it, and that is the correct way. You have to think about it. You have to concentrate on this matter, and you have to come up with your own conclusion. That's guidance. Instruction means, by definition, asking you to imitate. So, for example, if you go to a lab, there is an instructor there. What does the instructor say? Say, okay, we are going to do this experiment. So take, for example, 2 ounces from this matter and 3 this matter, and mixed up and put on the fire. You follow. That's instruction. But guidance means asking you how to use your human qualities and letting you be free in your own conclusion. So you have to conclude yourself.
No, guidance is inquiry.
Sorry?
I said guidance is inquiry instead of instruction. It's different. Like when we teach children, we have to use inquiry, not just asking them to repeat what we're saying. We have to let them think and come up with their own conclusions.
The
That's
parents
the way
are,
they learn, otherwise they don't
that
learn.
in reality, parents are expected to guide their children, to make, not to turn their children into robots that they will imitate, to guide. That's why actually the best parenthood is through representation. It means acting in a way that the child will see you and learn. Of course, as he grows, then he will say, my parents were doing this and that, they are right, they are wrong, that those conclusions will be their own conclusion, the children's conclusion. This is the different. So, okay. In Islam, this is paraphrased with the word tabligh. That's what Quran keeps repeating, that the prophetic mission is nothing but making tabligh. It means conveying the message and leaving the people free. Yeah, conveying the message. And if a prophet wants their people, or the people who listen to him, to obey them, Quran says, who are you to make people to follow you, to obey you definitely? No, you just offer. If they agree with it, it will be their conclusion. So freedom is prior to belief. But if you notice the importance of this phrase, freedom comes before belief. If your belief is not really springing from your free choice, this is not belief.
I'm just curious, if one is guided then rather than instructed, right? Let's say like it's guidance rather than instruction. And what does it really mean to be a Muslim?
That's your conclusion.
That
For
you are
you.
a Muslim?
What do you say? Why do you say I am a Muslim?
Because I believe, from my personal experience, that I was guided to it. This was not something that I learned as a child. I wasn't born a Muslim.
You investigated.
I investigated.
And you have seen some messages
And
coming
evidence.
to you. You decided that this message is correct. That is your
Conclusion.
conclusion. So now you have to train yourself. As this conclusion applies to your own being, you have to internalize it, which means you have to define this conclusion within your own human qualities. So whatever you hear from the people who teach you that Islam says this or that, you will hear and investigate. If you are convinced about it, that is you. If you are not convinced about it, that's not you. That's not you. You are just imitating.
All right, makes sense.
So that is how we should really communicate with the Quran. We have to ask, that is something interesting to me. We have to ask the Quran, when we read anything, what is the guidance in it? Guiding me to confirm within my own self that this is really true. So rather than saying, for example, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, praise, all praise belong to God, who is the Lord of the whole universe. So there are two ways of taking this source, as an instruction, as a guide. As an instruction, saying that, okay, since I am a Muslim, I have to learn this, and what it means as well, and I have to recite it in my prayer. It is a part of the prayer, okay? So I have to really accept it because This is a part of my religion, but it's not your religion. It's not your conclusion. So you have to ask the question to the verse, the same verse. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Praise is due to God only. Alhamdulillah. Let's make it simple. What are you guiding me to? What are you teaching me there so that I will make it real for me? It means, how can I confirm that this statement is true within my own self? Within my own self. So there are two ways of reading the Quran. One is learning what it says. The other one is confirming what it says. So what we are missing mostly to read the Quran in order to confirm. We are making some sort of exemplary studies at NYU. So if you really pay attention to it, we study every verse in order to come to a conclusion that whether it is true and I'm going to confirm the content of this verse or not. So looking for the confirmation. But while I am interacting with the Quran, I am taking this as a guide. How? For example, the teacher says, okay, so the teacher says 2 plus 2 makes 4. Right? What do you do?
Confirm.
You have to make sense. If you are convinced that the statement is true, you confirm it. Not because you go home and speak to your, like a child, 3-year-old child. No one does that, but in reality, they are convinced. They are convinced that it is truth. That's why they repeat. So one day I would like to study with you the split personality. We have what is the word, the right way of saying it? We have not that split personality.
Bipolar.
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 Straight up bipolar.
The result is being a bipolar as far as religion, matters related to religion is concerned, not in our relationship with the rest of the society. I couldn't find the right word for it, but what we do, we take our human qualities and use them when it is related to the world, this world life, worldly life, in a very meticulous way. Is it really? Really? Which is best? Which class is best? We investigate, investigate, investigate. As far as this worldly life is concerned, if you are going to, if you are going to buy a computer, how many people you consult? So if you don't know, like me, I ask them this one, then everybody says something, and if I'm convinced that this man is the person who really knows about it, I follow his advice and investigate. For example, when you are studying your textbook, you try to understand it, yeah, and try to make sense of it. But when it comes to religion, we don't do that. That's what I wanted to say. We have,
Double standard.
Dualism.
Double standard.
Selective.
sorry?
Selective.
Um,
Or selective.
when it comes to religion, we imitate. When it comes to the word, we investigate.
Yeah, that's a cool.
Yeah? Yeah.
I think because we're also taught that we shouldn't, ironically, we shouldn't really investigate or question that much
About what?
about religion.
What? How can you, if you don't question something, if you are not convinced about something, how can you be yourself?
She's saying that we're taught. it.
Because
Oh, yeah,
that's
yeah.
how, yeah, it's a very didactic way of.
Because those people who have never thought of their being
Yeah.
religious,
Yes, true.
they found religion in, I don't know, in a building in Cairo, and they say, we are Muslims. All right, carry on, but none of my business. I can't do that. I can't do that. I must have my own understanding of my own being. I can't do that.
And Sheikh Ali, it's also, I mean, that's a very good reason, but also another reason is we have to confront that, is because we don't see immediate benefit or harm in that. I mean, I'll spend money on that computer, it will not do its work if I don't get it right. But religion, well, very few people told me that, well, they did tell me that you'll go to heaven, but it's very, like, far-fetched in the future that it doesn't necessitate something immediately happening.
That's a good point, because we don't see religion as the essence of my existence. Because think about it, all my murder relationship is transient and will die away. Whatever the degrees you have, you will become a doctor and then, I don't know, assistant professor and the full professor, and then you will retire and you will be called as emerit, Professor Emerit, Emeritus, and then you will die.
Yes, this fifth aspect is very
But it doesn't have to be this way.
No?
You can see still like bounties here if you are like.
Oh, no. But our we are talking about our understanding of religion. I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't have the flower. How I communicate or how do I establish my relationship with the flower? That's religion.
Yeah, but I meant he said we can't see results in like dunya, but that's not true because we see results in dunya.
Yeah, we have to see in terms of religion. It means your worldview, your understanding of this universe and your own existence, the existence of the universe, will have different meaning for you.
Yeah, but the problem is you still enjoy the flower even if you're an atheist.
No,
No,
not
you-
in the same way.
No, you
Not
don't.
in the same way.
no.
You can't enjoy anything in the same way.
Not as a human being responding to your human qualities. Because if you see the flower, if you really see the flower as a mirror to the divine beauty, divine glory, how do you feel as a human being? You are a human being.
I feel good.
Yeah. You say,
Stop.
the one who gave me existence is revealing himself to me, that he is the one who is making everything beautiful for me and making me enjoy it. So my creator, the source of my existence, is being with me continuously and communicating with me. Everything is yours now. Eternity is yours. So we don't see that we can and we should transfer our transient world into an eternal world through investigating the reality of my own existence. But we don't see that this is religion. That's why when it comes to religion, we are imitators. When it comes to the world, we are investigators and to the minute
That's the highest.
detail.
Sure.
Can't you gain some insight or understanding through imitation, bro? Like through after imitating somebody, you gain the
the benefit of the
Do you?
of the
Do you? The teacher taught you that 2 plus 2 makes 4, and imitate. Go home and tell your mother or father, oh, we learned today 2 plus 2 makes 4. But you never are convinced that 2 plus 2 really makes 4. Yeah? It really makes 4. So you don't say, teacher told me that 2 plus 2 makes 4. You say, Mom, I am now convinced, or I am aware that really 2 plus 2 makes 4, Mom. Did you know that? Right? That the way of your communicating with your mom will be different. That's your conclusion. By imitating, I don't know, what do you learn from by imitating?
But the thing is, like, we do imitate some things without really understanding why, like, you know,
No.
we imitate the Prophet without understanding why exactly.
Why? But what you understand, if you don't know who the Prophet is, yes, you imitate it blindly and you understand nothing. But if you are convinced what prophethood is, who the Prophet, not personality I'm talking about, who the Prophet is, so he is your guide. He is your muballigh, the one who conveys the message to you, and leave yourself free to conclude. So you say, but he told me this, and it makes sense. You confirm it, and you are pleased with his teaching, not blind imitation, but something that we may confuse. For example, the outward form of the prayers. But that is not the prayer really. What we are talking about, what we mean by prayer, performing my prescribed prayers. What do we mean? We are trying to understand this. If I am convinced that this is really, really correct thing for me to say, for example, God is most great, today's discussion is, God is most great. If I am really convinced God is most great, God is most great, so the Prophet, my understanding of Prophet leads me to conclude that, for example, how to say in which conditions, material conditions, that I should say God is most great. For example, standing, or at the beginning of my prescribed, that depends on your perception, your understanding of prophethood. Who prophet is for you. So you have to think about it. So it makes sense to you when you imitate the outward form of the, for example, religious rituals. But if you don't have the a perception of the prophethood which makes sense to you, then you imitate. You don't know what you are doing. I don't know. Maybe I'm not saying people are doing wrong or right. I can't be like this. I can't do that, and I don't get any pleasure from this activity, anyways, when I imitate something. But it will be meaningful for me when I imitate the Prophet, and the Prophet says, for example, do this. I say, yeah, I have to do what he did or how he did. But I have a base for it. I have a base for it. This base is belief. Your conclusion, it means. Belief means your conclusion. It means your understanding of prophethood makes you follow his pattern. But of course, for example, you cannot imitate the meaning of, or the meaning you get from God is most great, because Prophet said so. It must be your conclusion. Everything must be your conclusion. Even when you imitate the practical side of rituals, it must be your conclusion.
So Sheikh Ali, imitation is limited to the outward form of...
No, imitation has no legitimacy. But I'm saying, Because you know, for example, you are absolutely sure that Saad is the expert in how to in using the computer. All right.
Okay.
So, but you are sure, not because you are told, right? And what you learn, you look at Saad, how he is using the computer, and learning from him as a guide. So sometimes you say, oh, but he is doing this, there must be a reason, because he is the most, how do you say, expert on this. But you have to be convinced. That's why there is no blind imitation by itself, really. But only because you are sure that Saad is the best man, as far as you can investigate it, you understood, you are sure his teaching, his experience is really, really always to the point and correct. Then you follow or get information from him or get guidance from him. Then you have to develop your own way of using the computer, and you have to be convinced that, wow, that is really true. That's what I am doing. So we have to be convinced about the prophethood. Look, what is prophethood? How do you see the world? How do you explain this universe in a way that there must be prophets? Have you ever thought about it? There must be prophets, because look at the world. If there were no prophets, it would mean nothing, or it would have contradictions. So it needs consciousness there about being convinced of the prophethood. Do you see what I mean? So you say there must be a prophet, you know, the creator, my creator, cannot really leave me alone here without any guidance, So, because this, when I look at this universe and my own existence, requires or necessitates that there must be guidance from my creator. And the prophets must have this, the concept of prophet in your mind must be based on this. So, imitation only by itself, no.
Okay.
You cannot imitate.
Not by itself, yeah.
Yeah, not by itself, no. But you have to have reason. And then you have to be convinced about it yourself. Yourself. It means it should be your conclusion. So I think we are getting closer. Let's see what else is written here. Wouldn't being aware of your existence be considered ghafla? Wouldn't being aware of your existence be considered ghafla? She wrote. Of course, Tahira said, what is ghafla? Heedlessness.
Why would that?
So wouldn't being aware of, or wouldn't not being aware of your existence be considered ghafla? Not being. I think, Ron, there is a typo there. Yeah? Okay. Is that the difference, by the way, faith and belief? Oh, that's a word, doesn't matter. Whatever you mean. Whatever you mean by faith, whatever you mean by belief, whatever you say, doesn't matter. What do you mean? So, whatever the meaning you really load on the word, then, so some people, so for yourself, but whatever the word you use doesn't matter. Faith is what you think, but it hasn't been proven. That's your definition, correct? All right, I'm not saying wrong. Well, but if you define faith as something which hasn't been proven, Okay. No, then the faith, forget about faith. And belief is when you have proven it and are sure of the conclusion. Yes, that's your conclusion. That's your definition. So then you have to say, you have to use the word belief, and you have to really prove what you, or you have to have evidence to prove what you conclude.
I apologize for my ignorance, but like the reason why I'm learning more about Islam is because, well, that's my own business, right? But like, what would be the best way to learn about the Prophet?
What would be the best?
That would be Sheikh Ali.
No.
Or the best source? I'm sorry, I'm not
Okay.
getting the question
We have
correctly.
to, practical question. First, you have to have the question. The question, what is prophet? Why do I need it? Why there should be a prophet? Is it really true? Yeah? First you have the questions. And then go through the sources. Right? Go through the sources who study the Quran in a way that requires really investigation, not imitation. So, for example, if someone says, Muhammad is our prophet, it's pointless. What do you is it, if you are a Muslim, yeah, Muslim means Muhammad is the prophet. But you see, that means this source is no good for you. So you have to investigate through the sources. But for a very practical reason, you can read very carefully the 19th word in this book. So that is an introduction to how would we really investigate that, what the prophet is. But, okay. So I would like to finish this, God is most great. So I'm repeating the sentence from the beginning. Then they responded, saying, God is most great, before the manifestation of divine beauty, in front of it, before the manifestation of divine beauty, glory, perfection, and majesty, in the mirrors of beings, in the mirrors of beings. You see, all times of Kriya. Ever changing, the beings now, ever changing on the face of the universe. Everything is changing. They bowed reverently, those people who responded, bowed reverently in their impotence. That's another thing. They bowed reverently in their impotence. In the people. For example, when you bow, practically speaking, when you bow during your prescribed prayers, like this, it must be done within your own impotence. What does it mean? What does it mean? Your impotence.
That you realize that nothing is possible within your existence without the Creator. That every single matter is not a result of you, but a result of the Creator.
Your neediness.
You're needy.
Needy of
The Creator.
Sorry? Yeah, good. You are needy of?
Of God. You're
It
needy
means-
for a creator.
So you are needy of a creator which will give you existence, otherwise you wouldn't
We need
exist.
Exists.
You wouldn't exist. Be aware that if I exist, it means my existence tells me that I need to exist. Yes? I need to exist. If I need to exist, so somebody has given me this existence. So my reverently bowing is the acknowledgement of my neediness, at least to exist, and then all the attributes, all the qualities and faculties given or attached to your existence, all needed of the source of the existence. When you see, if you see the beauty and the glory manifesting themselves in the mirror of beings, you have to see the glory and beauty manifesting themselves in your own being as well. So this is good. In impotence. So when you bow, what will you say? I am bowing before the source of my existence. So, because I know I exist and it is given to me, all the qualities are given to me, so I am bowing in acknowledgement that they are given to me. So, are you happy with your existence? Are you happy with the ability that you love flowers? Are you? Then this quality is given to you. You are needy. You don't say, I love flowers. No. You are made to love flowers. So this love is given to you and you are happy with it in acknowledgement of the one who gave you this sense. You say, I'm pleased with it. I'm happy with it. As acknowledging that as my Lord, as my owner in this world, I am happy with you. So my practice of worship must be based on first acknowledging that I am impotent. Everything is given to me. How can you not be thankful? For example, if someone gives you, I'm not sorry, okay, $100,000 now. Are you happy with it? Yeah, will you be happy with it? So what do you do? Oh, thank you, because you need it. Yeah? If you don't need that money at all, what do? No, thank you. No, I don't need it. Right? You are not grateful because you don't feel the need. So really we have to be aware of our reality, that we are impotent. Inshallah we can discuss more on this. So in their impotence is the essence. Yeah? If we don't acknowledge our impotence, we cannot acknowledge that my existence belongs to somebody else. Right? And prostrated in humility with love and wonder. So really this prayer must be love and wonder and experience that your impotence, express your conclusions as a result of your understanding of your existence in this world. That is prayer. I don't know whether you call it a religious activity or religious duty. I don't like that, these expressions. Experiencing your reality, living with your reality, that's your reality. You can do that. You can do that, it's not difficult. Just because we are not taught in this way. These are foreign to us. Go and experience that. Whoever teaches you this aspect of religion, never leave him alone. But if someone teaches you instructions, you can learn through Google. Go Google. Sheikh Google gives you all.
Google right there.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة.